What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone, and welcome back to a preview. Champions League, it's back, and it's back with, let's call it a bang. You know, going away to Villa, who did beat, Bayern in the Champions League. You know, that's not a given, definitely. So it's a team who are doing well in the Champions League. They have the points they have because they're just playing well. Period. You know, so you need to give them, you need to give them credit for that. Excuse me. They're not the same team as last season, so that's maybe a positive. The negative is, nor are we the same team. Actually, we're not even the same team we started the season with. We're far off that in terms of the squad we have. So it's gonna be a tough game. However, it's gonna be a game that we cannot lose tomorrow, because I think we will be in a difficult situation if we lose that game tomorrow. We will be in a difficult situation if we lose tomorrow, because I don't think, despite how Man City is playing, they're still Man City, and they're probably not going to play as poorly as they have lately. You still have Man City, Benfica, even Bruges picking it up, small pitch, potato pitch actually. It's not easy, you know, the remainder fixtures, and we kind of screw that up, obviously, with the Stuttgart game and not winning at Lille, a game you should be winning always. And now we're in a situation where we have to, you know, where there's a lot of pressure on us tomorrow, despite the difficulties, you know, because there are difficulties we will talk about in a sec. We cannot ignore for tomorrow. Saying that, we still need to show up tomorrow and make a game out of it, and that was basically the team of the Pressure, you know, from Cambiasso and Mota, is that it is what it is now. You know, we are in this situation, you know, squad wise, points wise, whatever you want to call it, and as a team, like, you can make excuses maybe, but you cannot moan about it. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. You got to deal with it. You have to deal with it, and you need to go forward, you know. So let's start with what Cambiasso had to say. Obviously, Cambiasso, not Thiago Motta, as it says on the bottom of the quote. He's kind of the flip side of, I think, everybody. You know, a lot of games, injuries because of a lot of games, and meaningless games, so on, and he was just happy that he can play, you know, and that's how actually Cambiasso is, how he comes across, that he always wants to play and so on. But there was a game, I think it was in Parma, where it was very clear that he was playing too much and the fatigue just kicked in and he was just not clear-minded. But again, you know, we have a short squad right now because of injuries, and he's not going to be the last one. But he said, playing is the best part of my job, so the more I play, the better I feel. I'm always at the disposal of my teammates and the coach to play wherever I'm needed. Aston Villa are a team with very strong players. It'll be a good game tomorrow. So he can play whatever the coach plays him. But, well, with the situation we're in, there's only one place. Like, we cannot switch a lot of things. Like, he's going to play in his left back position, and he's probably going to play there all season, considering the squad we have, depending on what's going to happen in January. So no winger position for him, because, well, the team is what it is. You know, we have about 4 or 5 center backs, and everybody has his position. And right now, it's just praying that nobody else picks up an injury. He said we played well against Milan. We did what we had to do. We have to continue along this path of ours, always giving our best, our very best, excuse me. Tomorrow's game is an important one, as were the games we already played. We know we are up against a good side, and we all have to try our best to win. They are convinced they played a good game against Milan, and actually, the game in itself was boring purely because we did absolutely nothing with the control. Like, we didn't create any chances. That was the bad part of the game. You know, the good part is we control the game, we keep the ball well, and that's it. You know, that's good. That's positive. I think nobody kind of dismissed that. That's a negative or a worry. Excuse me. However, the not creating part has been an issue, and that was an issue. So when he says we played a good game, we can all disagree. because we don't create enough and we don't win. We have 7 draws in the league, which is clearly not good enough. If you have 2 more wins, then like at this point, it's like you better lose than like it's better to lose a game here and there, than draw 7 because you pick up more points if you can turn some of them into wins. So it's good undefeated, but too many draws is definitely not helping us. You should have beaten Parma at home and Cagliari at home, and you're up there at the top basically. So small margins, but if you watch Juve, it's not small margins. It's self-inflicted, and we have an issue up top not scoring goals. So when he says we play well, I think it's more about we control the game. We did what we had to do in terms of that aspect. However, moving forward, we all know it wasn't good enough, and it hasn't been good enough for quite a while. But yeah, let's move on to Thiago Motta. He talked about Villa, and Villa are an interesting side. I watched a lot of Villa last season. I haven't watched a lot of them this season. They haven't won a game, and this is not to jinx it, but they haven't won a game in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. They drew Bournemouth at home. They lost at home against Palace in the, I think it's Carabao Cup. They lost against Bruges away with the hilarious goal. Oh, they lost against Tottenham 4-1 in the league in between. They lost against Liverpool, and on the weekend they drew Crystal Palace. So not good results. I agree with that. That doesn't make them less dangerous. They're not on the pace they were on last season, which is not a surprise because last season was a ridiculous pace. But they are a very good team. The intensity they can put into certain games is, I fear for that. I'm not going to lie. I fear for that purely because the way we're set up, and with set up, I mean as a squad, we don't have a lot of tools. We do not have a lot of options. If players are not keeping up with it tomorrow, we have nothing to throw at them. Like, that's it. What we are putting out there, we're putting out there, and you have players like Leon Bailey, and Ollie Watkins, like they put a lot, or Nana, they put a lot of energy in certain games, period. At the back, Diego Carlos, tough one. Pau Torres, also 2 tough defenders, not the most skillful defenders, but tough defenders in my opinion, that can put you in a lot of trouble as well. So that's that, but it's kind of similar to Milan, only Milan didn't do that. They love to counterattack. They're quick. They put a lot of energy in that. And if you expose yourself, you're just going to kill yourself tomorrow. So he said tomorrow we'll play a side who have been playing well for a long time and getting good results. They've also got 9 points in the Champions League, and we'll go out there with humility and ready to give our all. Emery is a good coach who has been at a high level for a long time. He's showing his worth again at Aston Villa and doing it in a very difficult league. Emery is a good coach. I think we know that. We've seen it when they smoked us with Villarreal. He's proving it. Winning the Europa League so many times. It's you can say it's Europa League, but that Villarreal team, like, come on, and he still managed to pull that up. So credit to him. And he has his team playing. He has his team playing well. They are in a dip. Like I said, they are in a situation where it's not going the way it should be going, or the way they thought it was going, because they started off the season well, beat Bayern Munich as well, and it was all rosy, and it should be rosy because that's a fantastic start to the season. And then it went a little bit south, you might say, lost a little bit of that flair. But if you leave a lot of space against Villa tomorrow, they're gonna cook you. They're gonna absolutely smoke you. I watched a bit of the Bologna game a couple of weeks ago. What was it? 2-0, I think it was. Because I turned it off after the 1-0. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was McGinn who scored that goal. But against Bologna, it wasn't a game where it was high quality football, but they were just better. And you can say it's just Bologna. They were better than Bologna. However, the interesting part is, despite Bologna's difficulties and flaws this season, they still had a lot of shots. They still had some opportunities. It wasn't that they got completely outplayed. Villa were the better team, and they had just more quality. But it's not that Bologna got played off the park. Bologna had good spells where they kept the ball well, kept it away from Villa. It was a balanced-ish game, but Villa were the better team. You saw they had more quality and they had the upper hand. the moment they needed to. Right now, I'm looking at that game like tomorrow, looking at our bench. We need to control that first half. We need to be in control of that first half. We need to keep that ball. Hopefully, they fall for it and don't push as much, so we can save some energy because we're going to need that in the second half. We are in a situation where we cannot lose. With a point for them is amazing, considering that they're going to go for it because they also have nothing to lose. But a point is 10. Like 10 points, you're out of the group here. You're going to make it. We are in a situation where we cannot lose because the next game is City and we only have 7 points. So the pressure is on us. The pressure is definitely on us, and that's maybe a good thing or a bad thing. But we need to control that first half. Otherwise, I think in the second half, we will have a massive issue. We will. And let's move on to the biggest point. I said it early on the show. We have 14 players at our disposal. 14 field players, which obviously doesn't include Perin and Pinsoglio. But we have Danilo, who I spoke about quite a lot. I know everybody I think finally agrees with me. We have Rui on the bench, we have Fagioli on the bench, and we have Mbangula on the bench. So 15 now players. No, 14, excuse me. That's the bench for tomorrow. That's how we are going to go into a big Champions League game for us. That's it. That's why I said we have nothing off the bench. I don't think Mbangula is in a moment where he can change the game. I don't think Fagioli is that. I think he can control the game when he starts and starts well. I don't think he comes in and makes a difference. I don't think he's that type of player. And Danilo only makes a negative difference. And Rui, whatever. I don't want to talk about Rui because he's not good enough, period. That's a squad we have. He got asked, why did you not bring any youngsters? And he said, out of respect for the team and for the youngsters, because I'm not going to play them. So it's pointless for me to bring them on. I'm not going to play them. It's not fair towards anyone. I like that answer. Like I've said it many times. I said it last season. You bring in youngsters and it's like, yeah, it's just to fill the squad. If you're not going to play it, screw it. It's not experience sitting on the bench, and sleeping at the hotel and having a warm-up training session before the game. That's no experience. So Motto was very calm with that. However, his answer was a bit strange because he said injuries aren't just happening to us and they're not happening by chance. That's one part. He said at this moment in time, it wouldn't be constructive to find the reason behind them. We have to deal with the situation by each giving that bit more. Even with the flu, Colt Miners is a great player. He'll play tomorrow as well as Cambiaso. As will Cambiaso. They aren't just happening to us, and I agree. We're playing too many games. There's too many football on. And people can say, oh, but they deserve millions. What are they complaining about? Fans are complaining. Like, I'm complaining because the quality of football is lowering. It's a lot of injuries. It's not fun. Like, it's pointless. It's good to play every 3 games, but I'm at a point where I'm like, it's too much. Champions League and the league, whatever, it's all good. But the Super Cup, I've said it many times, bullshit. World Cup, we're all going to watch it, but look at the players. They're not surviving. The quality is dropping. The players are dropping like flies. We've seen it with us, with other teams. So that's one reason. The second part, I don't understand, to be honest. He said at this moment in time, it wouldn't be constructive to find the reason behind them. If he's talking about too many games, then, well, that's the reason. You don't need to look at it. If he's talking about our squad in general, we need to look at the issues. Douglas Luiz had a muscle fatigue, and that was a month ago. That is not normal. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but that's not normal. Being out 1 month with a muscle fatigue is not normal, and it's hurting us. We need to find a solution. Is it the medical team? Is it the preparation we have, pre-game, post-game, during the week? I don't know. Whatever it is, at this moment in time, it's costing us. It's costing us. Because we have 14 outfield players available. That's ridiculous. One of them is a Serie C footballer on the bench. The other one is a Serie C footballer in Savona doing well, starting. The other one is Danilo, who's done. That's a squad we have right now. So you need to find the problem. You need to address it because it's not getting better. Actually, it's going to get worse than this. It's going to get worse. So I thought that was an interesting point he was trying to make, which I was confused about. I was like, not sure what you're trying to go at. We need to find the solution. Everybody needs to know what the issue is, because this is not normal. This is not okay, and we are in trouble. period. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the last part of the quote, because he was asked about the style of play, and this is your Juve, and this is, and you've said it many times. He talked about how he feels at the club, that he likes it at the club, that he only thinks about Juve right now, that he's ready to be here for a long period of time, so on. He said we have to focus on Juve's way of playing, not mine. Not on mine. We have to compete against every team, and the only way to do that is by always giving that bit extra. Tomorrow, we'll face a team with more points than us, and we have a lot of respect for them. I'm always positive. I have huge belief in my players, who show me every day that they're ready to compete and give their all. Now, that I can never fault Motta for. He will always back his players. He will always kind of ooze confidence. He will show confidence. He will back his players no matter what, and be constructive. And things are not well, he says things that are not good. We talked about the attacking problems, but he will never throw a player under the bus or so on. And to be honest, I believe that the players believe in him and follow him and are willing to go that extra mile for him, which is good. And that's how it should be. When we talk about it's not the same. We have flaws in the squad, and we knew that in the summer. Going into the season, we have flaws. It's just getting worse because of the injuries, because now you can mask one thing. You cannot mask 4 or 5 things, and that in the space of a month. That's ridiculous. From Bremer to Cabal to Gonzalez gone, to Douglas Luiz gone, to Koopmeiners being injured, to the players only coming in a couple of days before the third season, the third game into the season. It's tough. This is gonna need some time. This is gonna take some time, and I think everybody is backing, including the club as well. But we definitely need help. Period. We definitely need help. And people hit the like button. I know Champions League on. I know it's very early. A lot of you are gonna rewatch it instead of being live, but I'm gonna watch Champions League myself, so that's why I did this one earlier on. In January, we need bodies. Our starting 11 is good enough. To qualify for the Champions League. Get 2-3 players on a cheap, with our injured players being back. Then spend bacon this summer. We should be good to qualify. However, we are in a situation where it's not impossible that it can come down to the last day of the Champions League, which is not something we want, or I want. But yeah, let's move on to the predicted lineup, which, well, I want to say no surprises, but there are some conflicting reports. Some are saying Fagioli is going to start, but from the latest kind of news, this is the predicted lineup, with McKennie obviously also being injured, and we are coming in. Koopmeiners dropping deep, and we are staying up top. Now there are reports out there as well saying we are on the benches again. Koopmeiners will start up top with Fagioli coming in. I wouldn't be shocked if I see Koopmeiners indeed up top with Fagioli and Weah instead of Conceição, to keep Conceição on the bench and have something in the second half. I wouldn't be shocked. Now, there are not a lot of options. However, there's still disagreement on the lineup. I wouldn't play Koopmeiners up top. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't do that. However, if he does that in the first half, I can kind of see why. If he want to control the game and he wants to have something off the bench in the second half, if he wants to see how Villa are going to come out, if we are capable, and if we will be able to manage that game, that's one thing as well. I think it will all come down to that first half, how we will operate. Now, that's it. That's a predicted lineup. I cannot say I disagree. I agree. It is what it is. That's the players we have, and we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. These guys are gonna need to keep up with the pressure, because playing at Villa Park is intense. And they're gonna need to keep their cool. Technically, they're gonna need to play a perfect game. They cannot make mistakes, because going down a goal is just suicide. I think tomorrow, I think it's suicide because of the quality we have or do not have on the bench, and the quality Aston Villa possess on their day. That can be a very, very long evening. If you don't start off on the right foot, that could be a very, very long evening where you look back at years back, and you're like, Jesus, that really, really happened. Koopmeiners needs to score, definitely. So, I'm not overly optimistic, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna give an optimistic score, and I'm gonna go 1-1. because I don't know. I have a feeling Villa will come out and push for it, you know, and we are not being able to control that game, and we're gonna need to play catch up, and I don't think we have anything to play catch up with right now, you know. So 1-1 is my prediction. Hopefully I'm completely wrong and we win. We need that win for so many different reasons. But yeah, 1-1 is my score, you know. So let me know in the comments what you think, what the score will be, what you think about the game, so on. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna watch Bayern against PSG, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow post game, hopefully with some good news.